You're listening to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, episode 18.
On today's episode, we discuss Oh My Girl, this week in music and life adventures.
So sit back and chill with friends. You're listening to the after show with the SojuTalk Nation. Welcome to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, a chill discussion on this week in the SojuTalk Nation. We're recording on Thursday, May 13th, 2021. It is 5:41 a.m. PST. I'm your host, Crispy, and joining me this week, we're welcome back, Koala. Hello, Koala.
Hello.
So can you explain to everyone why we're recording on Thursday morning this week?
Because I had assignments till yesterday, till 11 p.m.
Yeah, they stacked all your academics like the last 2 days before a break, which is kind of amazing. Great job, Germany, and your education system. Yeah.
I ended up with 9K words.
A 9K word essay, is that correct?
Multiple projects.
Oh, multiple projects. Well, you know what? You're so far ahead of us academically. You will appreciate all the work you've done in the future and go into university thinking you are 10 times smarter than us US kids. So, you know what? Honestly, it might be for the best. I mean, you're already a professional broadcaster, so now you're going to be an academic. I mean, it's all just going to work out for you. Koala, you're way ahead of the game. Let's just say that.
I hate it here.
Announcements this week. Soju Sessions episode 7. A not-so-crackhead bagel joins me to talk ITZY. And I will tell you, it was a very insightful, in-depth conversation to the point where several people messaged me saying, how the hell did I get bagel to be so chill? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Considering the topic was ITZY, he had a little bit of crackhead energy to start, but no, he held it down. So good job, Bagel. Also, Koala is not dead, so she is here this week. We don't know about next week. Who knows about the future? The future is uncertain. But for now, we have her here, and we have a lot of fun things to talk about this week. Moving on now to celebrating the nation. I think I missed it last week. So on May 8th, we had Yi celebrating his birthday on the server. Shout out to Yi. He's been one of the OGs for about a year now. I do recognize his username and him in chat. So just give him a shout out if you didn't get a chance to say happy birthday to him. And on May 17th, we have Joanne. So wish her a happy birthday on the server. Spam her notifications and pings. Let her know how much the nation appreciates her and her being around. Koala, anything else you want to catch us up on since we haven't seen you in a week?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I will force you to tell us about your life a little bit later on in the show, so don't you worry. All right. So let's move on to this week in SojuTalk music. The crew had 2 songs this week with Oh My Girl and Dun Dun Dance and NCT Dream with Hot Sauce. So the conversation this week did feel a little lighter, more free-flowing conversation. And I gotta say, I do like when they take a lot of detours, when they have their set things they want to say, but are more casual about how they go about it. I think one of the detours that caught everyone's attention was when Doug talked about top 5 girl groups. Koala, what did you think about Doug putting Oh My Girl in the likes of Blackpink, Twice, ITZY, Red Velvet, and Mamamoo, in contention with Mamamoo?
I'm not too knowledgeable about girl groups. First of all, probably a pain for Wiz once that Ice One isn't there anymore.
I mean, yes,
Second of all,
but
I
it's
don't
fair.
just like if we talked about that topic like a month ago, they would have been up there. But contracts. Anyway, I don't think there is like a lot of like competition amongst girl groups because you can like name probably the top three, and then there's a big drop. I would say I would consider Mamamoo and Oh My Girl like a different kind of group than Blackpink and Twice and Red Velvet, but I can get why you would put Oh My Girl there, I guess, because they're doing very decently on like general public level.
Yeah, a lot of general public popularity right now in Korea. And then as far as like the other groups, it's very much a global global brand awareness, right? With Twice and Blackpink definitely having their place amongst the global audience, especially Blackpink with all the things that they do, will have done last year. And then ITZY slowly making their way into a lot more Western-friendly content and Western-friendly approach. I do think that there is a group of girl groups that separates themselves with just their resources and their ability to reach other audiences. But as far as Korea, as far as general popularity within variety and dramas, and just being in entertainment, I do think Oh My Girl is in there. A lot in part thanks to their music and what they were able to accomplish in 2019 at the end through Queendom. We will touch on that a little bit later. And this also got them to talking about tier list. Okay, so I did really like the conversation going into more casual behind the scenes. This is like a programming like peek into what they do. What did you think about Doug kind of going into detail about the angry comments and the context of why they no longer do tier list on the show?
I believe this wasn't the first. I feel like he's talked about it a lot of times already. Maybe in voice chat. I don't remember if it was on like episodes. But I know that the feedback on these tier list videos were kind of poo-poo. So, but it was nice to like talk a bit out of the frame of the two songs to give a little bit more insight if we only have two songs anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice just to lighten up the conversation and to have different topics kind of flow in and out. Very smooth, Doug and Warren and Anita. Yeah, the tier list conversation, I think Doug has talked to us about it offline, but hearing it on the show, and if you're a regular listener, now kind of put into context of why like the internet is so tricky to navigate sometimes. Yes, you want to kind of do your best into making content that is accessible and SEO friendly, search engine optimized, but at the same time, if your content is causing you some stress, then I think it's best to kind of do what you think is right. And not doing tier list is an okay thing because I think it has made Doug happier. And Doug has said he's depressed, so one less thing to worry about. Let's move on now to the music this week. And should I allow you to take control because you are the girl group stan here, or do you want me to help you out here, Koala? Because the first song we have is "Oh My Girl" with Dun Dun Dance, released on Monday, May 10th. Koala, go ahead, take it away, all you.
Says the person that's been like on an Oh My Girl marathon yesterday.
Okay, so before I get into my segment, what were your initial reactions when you first heard the song and watched the music video?
Very summery. It fit the weather we had in Germany. Oh wait, now I need to calculate. What is 30 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit? Is it 80? Is 80 hot?
80 is decently warm. Yeah, depending on...
Should be alright.
Yeah, California 80 is like, it's okay because there's a lot of... it's not very humid. Like it's dry, but then also there's a lot of wind typically. So it's not like it's like killing us, but Yeah. So summary, Germany. Okay. Anything else?
Germany.
Summer in Germany. All right. I'm feeling it.
I also liked like the whole aesthetics of and the visuals of the EMV. I also wondered where they could have filmed this because some sceneries look pretty interesting and cool to look at. Like that one glass building that was like I don't know what the shape of that was, but it looked cool.
So a lot of attention to detail is what I'm hearing from you. Okay, so you are the girl group stan. Got it. With me, I totally didn't do 3 hours of research yesterday about Oh My Girl. Totally didn't. But I will say that Oh My Girl is firmly in my top 3, if not top 5, of girl groups. And I don't know, there's just something about the way I was reintroduced to them back in 2019. And that kind of like helped me stick with their progression and their journey and just like the things that they had accomplished up until that point. So Oh My Girl debuted back in 2015, a lifetime ago. And through my research yesterday, watching all the old MVs and kind of reading the history of how their songs were released, the music definitely is dated. No, not dated. It definitely sounds like it's from that time, right? Like going back and listening to it. But they did a nice job of balancing releases from very typical, like almost summery. Like they do a nice job of like summer music, but then flipping to a more fantasy, fairy, almost ominous sound of like pop music, which is like very storytelling, right? And I really like that balance between their ability to tell a story, but then also flip back to something very fun and light, which is actually the past 2 songs between Nonstop and Dun Dun Dance. A couple other things I found amazing about their music is just, well, Koala, what's your history with Oh My Girl? Because I feel like I'm going to go on a monologue if I don't let you kind of like take over a little bit here.
I don't know. Do I have a history with Oh My Girl? I don't think I've really followed them a lot. I just like I just recognized them through Nonstop and Dolphin. I knew like a couple of songs before that, but I don't think I have like a big. I don't think I've listened to a lot of their music yet.
So you're saying that you're a miracle, is what I'm hearing. Got it.
Totally.
You're a dedicated Oh My Girl fan, miracle. Well, for me, some of my favorite, more memorable moments from Oh My Girl from the past few years. I do remember the subunit, Banhana, with Banana Allergy Monkey. I do remember that song floating around. I didn't know who that was by. I just knew it existed. And then when I got into more Oh My Girl in 2019, I went back and like really paid attention. And that song is amazing. Go check it out. It is a trolley, Banana Allergy Monkey song of a song. Like that title says it all. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think my first memory of Oh My Girl was, I think somewhere between 2016 2017, maybe even like early 2018, when I was going through Twice content. And I remember Nyan talking about her affection for Oh My Girl and that she likes their music. And that's when I first heard about that group. Back in the day, I still wasn't like super into like all of K-pop. I was very much just into like the bigger groups. So Twice was up there, Red Velvet. But I didn't really spend too much time with other groups. So when I heard Oh My Girl, I was like, oh, that's a very cute name. So I checked out a couple of the songs. Nothing stuck yet until 2019 when we had Queendom. And I will tell you, man, that show did so much for, I would say, a handful of groups, maybe 2 or 3 groups. Like they really popped off because of Queendom. But Oh My Girl, I think, got the biggest bump. Just going through the placing of some of the performances. Secret Garden got 3rd, which I felt was a reintroduction to who Oh My Girl was, because I think they did get kind of lost in that nebulous space of Red Velvet, Twice, Blackpink, kind of in that time of 2016, 2019. They are from a smaller company. They were caught like right in between IOI and IZ*ONE, but I think this performance really helped people rediscover them and get reacquainted with what they are about, their concept, and really their performance ability. And then they had Destiny, which is a lovely song that they covered. Do you remember this performance, Koala?
I barely remember any Queendom performances, to be honest.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. But I will say, well, if you go back and rewatch this performance, I only associate this song with Oh My Girl now. Because I went back to watch the original version that Lovelyz did. It's 5 years old, so it's definitely from that time. But the Oh My Girl version, I can't unhear that version, and it's very powerful. It's the stage performance is amazing. The dancing, the vocal flex between Sungyi and Hyojung is just out of control. And then there was a collaboration stage where Yua stood out super hard with the Michael Jackson dance cover. I don't think we need to say any more about that. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's there. It's amazing.
I think I remember that performance.
Oh yeah, so it was the dance subunit or dance group. They all did really well. Like I watched the entire performance. It's about 7 minutes because each of the girls has a solo. But she covers Michael Jackson. She kills it. My God, did you know Yua was that great of a dancer before the show?
I barely knew her name. I don't think I could have associated her with any like talent, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot about smaller groups, right? Where you're not too familiar with the individual members or kind of the trajectory of their careers up until something like this can highlight them. So I do think that Queendom did provide that platform to push Oh My Girl forward and really show that, all these girls are really talented. And yet all these girls are very grounded and they're in the mix with the top tier groups of the same era. Kind of moving on really quickly to the last couple of stages. So Twilight is an older song that they did a rendition of, which is a very fairy tale fantasy stage. They got first place with that one. And then the finale, they did a brand new song. It was Gorilla. And they got second place overall. So just the whole arc of Queendom really showed that they're like a top tier group. And they got second to Mamamoo, which at that point Mamamoo is still like a very big group and very well known in Korea. But I think just pushing Oh My Girl right up next to Mamamoo helped a lot for their 2020, where they popped off with Nonstop and Dolphin. And then Yua has her solo with Bon Voyage. I know I did a long roundabout like Oh My Girl history, but it just goes to kind of show that even if like a group doesn't pop off immediately, there's a lot of opportunity for them to put their stamp on the K-pop industry. And if things things happen and they get lucky, essentially, timing is everything. I think we talked about that last week. Then they can really like pop off and really like capture the hearts and souls of the audience. So kind of moving back to the main show, was there anything about the cruise conversation about Dun Dun Dance that really stood out to you?
I don't think so.
I did really like that Anita talked about the styling. Very casual summer beachwear. Well, not even summer beachwear, just like very casual, like summer, spring. Like there was jeans and then there was like really simple dresses. Sungyi had this like black dress that was like super simple, but it just like totally worked for her. Warren, I don't know what Warren's talking about. That hair was pink. Hot sauce? Magenta? What? I don't understand. But yeah, I think overall, it was just a very happy, really uplifting song, and it really captures summer. And what Doug said about not taking yourself too seriously, I do think that Girl Crush and Edgy are kind of the default now for a lot of girl groups, and kind of the expectation for newer girl groups, right? Where it's like, oh my girl, they kind of flipped it and said like, no, we're just gonna do our thing, and we're really good at it, and we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. And it kind of goes to show like just making music authentically goes a long way. Yeah. Any closing thoughts before we move on to the next song this week, Koala?
Seem like a big oh my god simp.
I don't know what you mean. I have no idea what you mean. You know, I totally don't watch US dance videos often, and watch Arin's webtoon web drama. Have you watched that web drama?
I don't think so.
The World of My 17.
Need a name.
The World of My 17. You know what? It's only about an hour long, the entire thing. We should watch it sometime.
I think I've watched it. I don't remember like web dramas a lot because they end up to be usually the same of a plot. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a very straightforward plot, but you got to see her, and it's really cringy, but it's amazing.
Oh my god.
It's super cringy. She's kind of the worst, but I love it. I'll watch it again. Nation, if you're available, hit us up. We'll watch it together. It'll be fun. All right, I think that's enough Oh My Girl sipping. I think we spent like 15 minutes on Oh My Girl. So let's move on now to NCT Dream with Hot Sauce, Koala. Okay, you are the true boy group stan, so I will let you take over here. What'd you think? How'd you like the song and music video?
God. So I'm already usually not like the type to like that NCT loudish sound. I just learned about myself like the past years that I really like their ballads, like generally SM ballads, and I'm not quite a fan of their title tracks. And this was not it for me, to be honest. I really liked the build up, and I was fine with the verses, but the chorus was just really not it. And the second chorus got even weirder, and I got really distracted by the weirdly pitched, distorted voices of them, and overall it just seemed very much like a mess to me, to be honest.
Koala, what would I do without you with this hard-hitting analysis, honestly? Because all those things I agree with, it's just I was not able to articulate as well as you. So yeah, I mean, totally. So I actually don't listen to NCT at all, so I can't compare what their ballad sounds would be to their title tracks and like hype releases. This song is very on brand with what I know about NCT and SM. Like it definitely just sounds like another title track with them, even with like the meme of the hot sauce. And I mean, to me, they should have just doubled down and like made the hot sauce available, because you and I very much like spicy stuff. And I think Doug was more surprised that the hot sauce wasn't available than the fact that it wasn't a CF.
I mean, I think they even have like NCT chocolate and like snacks. So why don't you just release a hot sauce?
All this branding possibility, and yet we don't get a hot sauce. With regards to the song, I did think it was kind of all over the place as well. I think Anita summarized it best when she started by saying, personally, and then kind of just like trailing off. It's a hype song. I mean, there's chantiness, there's hype, but again, I think the chantiness was pointed out very well by the crew that it was very high. It was high pitch. It was modified. They were not so sure if that was their natural tone or not. After re-listening to it, I couldn't unhear it. It's like, oh yeah, this is literally off. So
yeah, I recognized it right away. I was like, they don't sound like that. They went through puberty. That's not their voices anymore.
Yeah, It is kind of weird when a younger group debuts and, you know, their voices will change inevitably. But then you see them like a year, 2 years later when their voice should have changed. And yet their voice still sounds similar to how they did sound. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect, like mental disconnect for me when that happens, especially for boy groups, because it hits boy groups a little bit differently than for girl groups. I think a lot of the analogies this week were very on point with too much spice, too spicy, no sweetness, no tartness, no balance. Thank you, Warren. Do you think all of the ways that Warren described the song were on point this week, Koala?
Yep, I would agree to those.
Yeah, I think food analogies here were most fitting and kind of perfect with the song and the release and the music video. So well done, Warren. Fits right in. Any closing thoughts on NCT Dream's Hot Sauce?
So, it seems like most of us don't really enjoy the song, but you gotta say that they're doing really well as a group. They already got 60 million views and it's only been out 3 days and they sold like almost 1 million copies. So you gotta acknowledge that. Just would have been better if like general public would have liked the song more, even though I know it's been charting pretty decently on Bucks and Flow.
I think you bring up a really interesting point, Koala, where our community spends a lot of time with K-pop. So we listen to K-pop regularly, often, and because of the show, because of the podcast, we tend to think more deeply about the things we listen to, right? Where I think the general audiences, whether that's global or local in Korea, are probably more casual about how they listen to music, and it's really easy just to turn on a music video and just let it play. And if it's familiar, if it's on brand with NCT and what you know about that NCT, you're not going to feel too strongly either way, right? And I think NCT and SM does a nice job of doing that, where it's like, this is our brand, this is our sound and style. You know, if you're a more in-depth music listener, you are going to hear a lot of the things that are imperfect. Perhaps things that are not intentionally imperfect, things that just like come out a certain way. But to them, it matters. I don't want to say it matters less, but it's not a priority for them to capture every single person who listens so deeply, because those aren't the people that will give a song YouTube plays or even just casually buy like an album. So I do think it gives us a little peek into the industry and how larger companies operate. But I also do think that there is a formula to how to be successful. And if you have recognizable faces like Mark, I think it does help.
Mark and the boys.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment for Doug. As soon as he said it, he regretted it. I was like, oh, Doug, you're so funny. Yeah. But yeah, I think it does like go a long way to show like what the brand of NCT has accomplished and their recognizability. Is that even a word? Being recognizable locally and globally for them. So yeah, I think that was a long roundabout way to say SM as a business. I think that you and they are doing well, and people like us, people who are a little bit more in depth and deep, you know, it's not for us. So yeah, let's just let the kids have what they want to enjoy. Yeah, those are a lot of words today. We're just going for it today. All right, let's move on to Soju. Wow. Let's move on to the Soju chart this week. We have new songs because Stacy in their 4th week captured the Spice King crown and had to be retired from this chart. So sorry, Stacy fans. We no longer will have Stacy, but you know what? When they come back again sometime this year, you know, we're going after that crown. So here we go. But we do have a brand new song taking number 1 this week, a song that I love very dearly. Let's start with 3. So we have On and Off with Ugly Dance, we have Enhypen with Drunk Dazed, and number 1, Oh My Girl with Dun Dun Dance. Koala, what did you think about how the chart came together this week?
I like this chart a lot because I like all of the songs. Like, I actually listen to all of those. I don't think that's the case, like, in most of the episodes.
Yeah, no, I agree, because Oh My Girl is number 1. So I'm good. Like, whatever happens after that, it's like, all right, cool. You want to put a couple boy groups here? All right, cool. Got to represent everyone's different taste. Drunk Days, I think, revisiting it, I can appreciate the quality of the music video and the song. Again, like, for me, it's not my taste. Like, I just don't listen to boy groups, and I hesitate to say this is like the big hit sound, because it's not technically the big hit sound, but it kind of is the big hit sound. But I will say, Enhypen sound differentiates itself from TXT. So even if they share similarities with production and dancing and performance, there's enough for me to say, oh, this is very different from TXT. So with that, Drunk Dazed, pretty cool song, pretty cool MV. On and Off. So we have WM representing with 2 spots this week. What do you think about that, Koala, and how On and Off is very steadily being a consistent boy group this year?
And I love it. I think they are pretty much in the same spot as Oh My God, just on a like smaller extent, because I think for Road to Kingdom they also benefited a lot, just like their seniors. Seniors. They debuted after Oh My God. So it's nice to see that they are slowly gaining more popularity after the show.
Yeah, I think overall, Queendom and Kingdom will have a net positive on all the groups that participated, right? I think Queendom, we're starting to see a separation with some of the groups that are more popular and are doing better. But with Kingdom, and Road to Kingdom specifically, I feel like all of those groups gained far more popularity than they would have otherwise. I know I'm kind of like saying something that seems obvious, but just considering the competition for boy groups and the market, almost to a saturation point with just so many boy groups, I do think that they are all doing really well because of the show. And me personally, I would never have listened to On and Off had they not come on Road to Kingdom. And I actually would not have known that On and Off and Oh My Girl were from the same company had you not told me numerous times because of the show.
Oh my God.
So, you know what? Yeah, I think last week I did say that Doug and I have very similar taste in boys. Him saying he likes Oh My Girl, it looks like we have the same taste in girls too. So, very nice. You hate it. You hate it. Any closing thoughts on this week in SojuTalk, music, and the chart?
This was the last week that was chill. The next coming weeks will be very, very messy with a lot of releases.
Yeah, I think next week we're going to have to be a little bit more focused in how we talk about things, and the crew may not have space to be flexible with conversation. But maybe they can work it out. Maybe they can find a way to be a little bit more casual. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have a lot to say in the next couple of weeks. So looking forward to that for sure. All right, let's move on now to State of the Nation. They had a lot to say this week between State of the Nation and news. Was there anything that stood out to you particularly, Koala?
China. Just I'm not too deep into K-pop right now. I'm like watching some of the releases, but China, I'm just too much. I shouldn't have watched Youth with You. This is the end for me.
Yeah, I think Doug summarized it really well, because talking to you regularly, you did mention some of the things that were happening in China. I was very surprised to hear that Youth with You ended, but then Doug giving further detail. And I do think this is stuff that you guys do talk about on the server. because I will pop in occasionally just to kind of see what if there is any news or how people are taking the information. And Lisa, yes, of course, yes. I'm trying not to simp for this section, but if you keep bringing it up, I'm not gonna deny it. Far be it for me to deny myself. But yeah, I think the China situation is really interesting because it's wrapped up in powers beyond just entertainment and economics, right? It's wrapped up in politics, for lack of a better word. Politics that I personally have no idea anything about, so I can't really speak to any of it, either with an opinion or with any facts, anything backed up, because I just don't keep up with that political tension. But I will say it's not surprising, and it's a little scary with how much control China displayed by just shutting down an operation that is very popular in China and also globally. So
it's really interesting to see whether or not they will really ban all the survival shows for the next years. Because Lisa was also rumored to be on a survival show the next month. So I don't know what will happen to those, because I know that there are a few planned for this year left.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's yeah. I honestly I can't wrap my head around how a country who is making a lot of money off of these shows, right? Because it's very economically sound to do these shows and to partner with other countries and people from around the globe, because it increases visibility, it increases good relations, and it increases business relations. But then for a government to just step in and say no more, it kind of blows my mind that in 2021 that can still happen.
It doesn't even seem like it's coming from the government, but more of like the Chinese netizens, because they seem very negative about it from what I've read so far. They love their survival shows, but this year it seems very negative if you talk about Youth With You in specific.
Well, I had no idea that it's actually a public response situation. But then also like that public response could motivate the government to do something about it, right? And if there's a country that's going to do something about it, it makes sense that it's China. I'll just say that. I mean, again, not to make any judgments of just how things are run around the world. It's just, it's in line with what we know about how certain things happen around the world. Some other things that they talked about on the show, I did like Warren's business talk, localizing media and like products. Can we get like a Warren like business talk section every week?
TED Talk.
Right? Cause yeah, Warren TED Talk. I feel like I learn so much every time Warren has something to say. Like, man, yeah, and I think it does kind of allow for like an open conversation of how economics work in Korea versus like the United States, the differences, the similarities, but also like the global market, right? Because I think that's like the most interesting part of it, where we here in the United States, and like I'm sure like you in Germany, don't have immediate access to influence like these markets, and yet somehow we are participating in them. And I think it's that understanding and that reconciling like how we influence those markets is just an interesting talking point, and I hope that Warren can go into further detail about that, because he does like bring up certain things where it's like, oh, I feel like he studied this. I think he mentioned like late stage economics at one point, like months ago, and I was like, oh, talk more about that, please. TED Talk, please. But he just kind of jokingly brushed it off. Yeah, was there anything else about State of the Nation stuff? So they are no longer doing Kingdom. What did you think about that, Koala?
I feel at ease.
All right, so not to like not to, you know, separate Kingdom fans and those who enjoy the show and everything. But this week was no performances. Okay? It was essentially an athletic competition show where all the groups did a vaulting activity that took 45 minutes. And then they did a relay race that took 10 minutes. So that's about 15 minutes of just like them doing like something athletic. And the episode was still an hour and a half. So again, I'm not saying that, you know, if you like that stuff, cool. I'm just saying, like, I wanted to see a competition show, and what I got was Idol Star Athletic, but with boy groups. and I that's kind of not what I signed up for. But, you know, it was cool seeing them interact. That's all I'll say. Did you catch any of that episode this week, Koala?
I saw some like funny videos on like Twitter and Instagram, but it seemed fun, but it wasn't fun enough for me to watch the whole episode.
I would have to confirm your suspicions that yes, it was fun, but I think in smaller doses, in smaller bite-sized clips, it could have been equally effective. So the big question mark of why this entire episode was dedicated to just that without performances is there for me, because I don't remember this being the case with Queendom. I could be wrong. There could have been an episode where they didn't do performances, but this is a competition show, and I kind of wanted just music. So here we are. So moving forward, I think they are just going to, you know, quickly brush up on what happened in Kingdom every week without a full-on segment, which to me is fine, because honestly the performances are still impactful enough that I think that there's enough to say, to talk about. And I do appreciate Warren being a little bit more candid with the fact that it's a bit of a struggle for him, because he wants to watch music and he wants to watch dancing. And yet I think Kingdom has turned into a different expectation all in and of itself, right? Where there isn't as much emphasis on singing, at least not with every group, and that there is a far greater emphasis on stunts as opposed to dancing. I can agree to both of those things, and you know, if it makes for better conversations down the line, I think I'm down for them to restructure things a bit.
I think the next 2 episodes should be better though, because they now are in units, so it's rep focused, vocal focused, and performance focused. I think that could be better for the overall like stage quality.
Yeah, I think that'll be really, it'll be nice. I think we talked about this with Queendom too, how like there was a dance unit. I think that will be really cool to see a dance unit for Kingdom, where it's like, hopefully, because they don't know each other as well, that they won't lean on stunts and that they'll actually just dance. Because honestly, like, it's because like you're a group that has been together for years, right? That you can kind of trust each other and like choreograph those stunts. And now it's like, well, I just met you, so now it's like, okay, like, gotta dance together. I probably don't want to throw you in the air and catch you. So, is there anything else from this week in State of the Nation that you wanted to talk about, Koala?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I think the crew did talk about some fun things, kept things pretty light. A lot of anime talk, as usual. Attack on Titan, I had been planning to rewatch the entire series before the end, and I guess I have until December to do that. So, yeah, I got plenty of time. All right, so let's move on to closing thoughts and our weekly check-in this week. Koala, how have you been? How's school? Are you on break right now?
Yeah, it's just a holiday, just 2 days. So next week, no, I'm not at school next week, but I'm in school the week after that to write exams. Yeah.
What's the holiday?
something I don't remember. It's something to do with like the church.
Oh.
I could look it up what it's in English, but
Well, isn't a holiday also in other countries near you? Your neighboring countries?
no clue. Wikipedia English. Ascension of Jesus? Is that how you pronounce that?
That sounds correct.
Yeah, that's what the holiday is called.
Ascension of Jesus. So Jesus going to heaven? Is that what that?
Yes.
All right, cool. I mean, I thought there was only Easter where Jesus rises from the dead, and that there's Easter
And
bunnies.
we have like this, so it's called Christi Himmelfahrt in German.
Wow, that sounds really
then-
aggressive.
But it's Christi is just basically Jesus because Jesus Christus. And then Himmelfahrt is just ascension basically.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? Enjoy your couple days off. I hope you get to watch a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm planning to finally finish my dramas.
Okay, so to break the fourth wall, what were you watching prior to our recording today? Like literally, like as we're recording, you're like, I'm watching this still.
It's the 57th, I think, Baeksang Arts Awards. It's like mainly focused on Korean TV and entertainment scene. And there were a lot of people I simmed to, so I watched it. And it was on TikTok, so it was pretty convenient for me to watch it.
You TikTok kids. Yeah, it got my attention when you tagged me for Susie. So thank you.
Yeah, she's the host, I believe.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Susie. Very nice. And Charm Girl. We don't actually know her real name anymore. I think we just call her Charm Girl.
OP does know her real name. I sometimes forget it.
I have forgotten it because I think Charm Girl is very adorable. She's the co-lead in Extracurricular if you are interested. Very dark K-drama, but I do like her character a lot, and it kind of goes to show that in the world and in life, people do bad things, but doesn't always make them bad people.
She's also in Mouse, which I'm currently watching. That's like more of a crime stuff with like psychopath focus. Yeah. I think it was like, what if you could find out before you get birth to a baby whether it's a psychopath or not? Something like that.
Wow, I didn't know that was the premise. Is that based on a webtoon?
I'm not quite sure. It could be, but I don't think so.
Well, I'll put it on the list of shows that I will eventually get to. I don't know if I ever will, but you know, that's kind of just how it works. Last week was May the 4th, which was a Tuesday, and that was Star Wars Day. So usually that first week of May is a big celebration for me, at least in my local area, because we have Star Wars Day, May the 4th, and we also have Comic Book Day, which is free comic books at every comic book shop. I don't know who exactly organizes it, but it is a national event where comic book shops are given free comic books from different brands, and then those comic books are distributed or are given to people for free. So it's like special yearly special comic books, so they're not like necessarily tied in with any larger storylines or larger events that are happening in comic storytelling at the time. However, comic book shops will also give free comic books of things that they have extra of, which is amazing because it really gives kids and it gives people an opportunity to access comic books and to give them a starting place if they're curious and if they don't really know how to get into comic books. So I think it does a really nice job to promote literacy and to promote storytelling within the comic book and graphic novel medium. And I think it's important because to me, it's another form of entertainment, and yet there is a lot of creativity that could be found. And I think artists and writers are still something that needs to be preserved as far as culture and storytelling. And yeah, it's just it means a lot to me. I think comic books and storytelling and print storytelling is still like a really big part of my life. So yeah, if you're in the US, check out your local comic book shops because things are opening up again. They need your business. They need to see people again. And I hope once the world opens up again that we will all meet at different conventions, whether that's anime or comic books. That was my spiel. Cole, have you ever experienced US Western comic books? Because I know you read a lot of webtoons and you've read manga, but how about US comic books?
I don't think so. No, I don't think I've like done a deep dive. I know I have a couple of friends who like read a lot of comic books, but I myself haven't yet.
Yeah, the thing with US comic books is the bigger brands, right? Whether that's Marvel, DC, like the larger stories of like Batman, Superman, Iron Man, the Avengers, they don't have consistent storylines where it's like read this arc, right? Or like read this story. There's nothing ever collected super well, or like it's not visible to find. I mean, there are collections and there are stories that exist, but I think it's still relatively difficult to find complete stories. But what US comics do well are the smaller, lesser known properties where it's like a very complete arc, it's a very complete story. And I do think those stories are worth diving into. But again, it's not easily accessible, and it's not something that is talked about very much. It's not talked about this in the same way as a Marvel X-Men comic book or a DC Justice League comic book. Yeah, I think that there is a lot of storytelling in US comic books that is still untapped, and I hope that you get to experience them someday. You know, I'll give you recommendations if you're really interested, and I'm sure that there's ways that you can find it on the internet. My big adventure last week was Star Wars related. I wrote a whole thing about it, but you know, I'm just gonna go very briefly. I like to reread this book called How Star Wars Conquered the Universe every year or so. It's by Chris Taylor, and it's biography about Star Wars. So kind of the cultural imprint of the franchise since 1977, what inspired George Lucas, and then how it shaped every sphere of interest, whether that's comic books and fandom moving forward, and kind of the Western perception of the hero's journey and how that has influenced and permeated through so much of media, whether that's movies, television, or comic books itself, or even things in international markets over the few decades. So yeah, I think it's very much a love letter to all Star Wars fans, and it brings everyone into the conversation, opens the door, even to fans who may be a little bit more excited about certain points of view, which is fine. But yeah, I think it really is a nice grounding point for people who want to learn more about the history of media and the history of storytelling through movies, through Star Wars. So yeah. Koala, anything you're looking forward to next week?
Wait. Is there anything I'm looking forward to? I'm only looking forward to one of the trainees of Youth with You finally opening his Instagram account. That's my only thing.
You know, we have our little things. We have our, we have things that help us get by. And I hope that helps you get by. So, very cool. For me, not much. I'm trying to think music-wise. Twice, I think, is very exciting. I don't know when exactly they're coming back. Do you know when?
June. 10th? June, I think, or 9th.
So a month from now. Almost exactly a month. Okay. So Oh My Girl will just have finished their run. So no overlap there. Which is interesting how that happens. I do honestly feel like, not necessarily that the companies talk to each other per se, but I think there is some kind of communication that lets companies know when things are happening between other companies. And it's adjusted accordingly. This is just me speculating. I have no information on this.
But you're an insider, don't lie.
Please, you're the one who works for YG, who is trying to take over and be their CEO eventually. So let's be real. Yeah, I think that does it. Any closing thoughts at all, Koala? Anything you want to wish the nation well before we head out?
Just the casual stay safe, I guess.
Yeah, I think everyone stay safe. And as the world starts to open up again, I do hope that we are able to start to see people in different places and different ways. So yeah, stay safe, get vaccinated, and for the countries that don't have vaccines, keep wearing a mask. Yeah. I think let's end it there today. All right. So thank you for listening to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, episode 18.
Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, and continue the conversation on the SojuTalk Kpop Podcast Discord.
This has been the SojuTalk Nation for Koala. This is Crispy. Bye.
Bye.